Welcome back to the Lawson Brothers podcast, episode 2.
Welcome.
I think there might have been some question as to whether or not there was going to be an episode 2.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, and the only thing we know is that we don't know anything. So we just got some feedback from Braden on week 1 of the podcast, episode 1 of the podcast, if you will. And apparently there was some content that had to be edited out. Sam, whose content do you think that was that had to be edited out?
Yeah. I can't tell you. It's my guess would definitely be myself. I think I probably said a few things.
Gentlemen, there's some self-awareness up here on the part of 23-year-old Samuel Donnan Lawson.
Hey, we said last week, what'd you say?
What?
Samuel what?
Samuel Donnan Lawson.
We haven't talked about
middle names.
We need to have that conversation.
That'll come up.
I did think about it last week, and we probably should. We said a lot about like where we came from.
Yeah,
but I thought that this week it could be cool to just like ask each other some random questions.
Okay.
Just like
because we do have a segment on this podcast called
Anything Goes.
Anything Goes. I forgot what it was called. I was like, there's a segment on this podcast, but I can't remember what it's called.
Anything Goes.
Anything Goes.
Which I would argue is why last week there were some edits made to this conversation, because if you're talking to me face to face in a room, anything's gonna come out of this mouth.
Which is why
I'm the little brother.
It's why you're the little brother.
Yeah.
It's also why when you lead worship, one of my refrains that I say to you over and over and over again is, Sam, just sing.
Just stop
sing.
Talking.
Just sing.
And sing.
Just sing the song. Sing the words that are on the page. We're trying to cultivate some humility here, Josh. We got Josh Steeman in the booth today.
Welcome.
I don't know if Josh say hey.
Hey.
Hopefully that made it on the air. We need to get Josh a mic because I think Josh is one of the funniest people I know.
Let me describe Josh in one word.
Do it. You share an office with Josh, right?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And let me describe him in one word.
Josh is sweating right now.
Can I describe Josh? Can I describe you, Josh, in one word? Stud.
Just
a stud. Josh is a stud. It is. That's office talk. That's real office talk.
To get biblical here just for a moment.
Also,
that's how the woman in the Song of Solomon describes her husband.
Stud?
As a stud. That's
in the New Testament, right?
Just like Proverbs.
That we did say that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Josh, man, you missed that last. So we're recording just content, context for the listeners here. We're recording episode 2 before episode 1's actually released.
Yeah.
So there's potential that episode 1 could be a colossal flop and failure, and nobody ever even hears episode 2.
Possible.
But if they do, what they will hear on episode 1 is me make the statement, iron sharpens iron, and Sam make the statement, oh yeah, straight out of the New Testament.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because it's not.
And also,
it's in the book of Proverbs.
Talking about qualifying points, right? We want to qualify what we're saying is true. You said a minute ago.
Say true things.
Or just say true things. Perspective, right? Perspective.
It's all about it. Go ahead.
It is all about perspective. That'll preach, Jimmy. That'll preach. You said.
Just sing, Sam. Just sing.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, you said to me a minute ago, hey, just sing the song, which I was actually about to say a minute ago is slightly ironic considering, and Josh and I actually just had Chick-fil-A, and we were just talking about this at Chick-fil-A, that you asked me to preach on the 3rd floor the very first time. My preaching appearance, my guest preaching appearance here at Summerville Baptist Church was covering Exodus 19 through 33.
I gave you 14 chapters.
You gave me 14 chapters,
and
bro.
30 minutes to cover it. But I gave you the points, too. I was like, man, here's the points.
Yeah.
And then he tried to read the majority of 13 chapters.
I tried to what? In a message, I tried to read the Bible. That's a problem? Oh, man, you heard it. Pinewood pastor. Reading the Bible is not the way to go.
It's not what I said.
I'm kidding.
Not what I said. All right,
he loves the Bible.
That's the best.
It is the best.
It's the best. So.
This is we're awake today, bro. Wake up. Mr. Rogers, too.
So. You had Chick-fil-A for lunch.
Yeah.
You and Josh had Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for the invite. I had.
Would you have come?
I would have.
Oh.
But I didn't get invited.
Josh, next time we have a little mandate, we'll ask James to come with us.
There you go.
Yeah.
So y'all had Chick-fil-A.
We do need a parent.
Y'all had
in the room.
Chick-fil-A. I had Raising Cane's.
Today?
I had Raising Cane's.
Bro, where
for
was
lunch
our
today.
invite? We would have came there. Maybe.
Well, I was by myself. And Braden was out filming the Joy Singers today.
I'm about to
Did
raise
you-
some cane right now.
So here's the question,
Yeah.
because this is just kind of the ask me anything. Not ask me. That's not the phrase. Anything
goes.
That's the segment.
Yeah.
Anything goes segment of the podcast. I don't know if this is a debate or not.
What?
But it's about to be a debate. Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's.
Chick-fil-A or Raising
Chick-fil-A
Cane's.
or Raising Cane's. Now,
You're talking to a former Chick-fil-A employee
I know.
right here.
And I'm sitting in
And
a
there's another
Southern
Josh
Baptist
himself,
church.
the stud, is in the room also.
I
as an
almost feel like a heretic even raising that question, because it's like the Jesus chicken versus the upstart in the room, if you will.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, man. Raising Cane's is coming. I'm pulling for Raising Cane's to get saved. I'll just say it like that.
I don't know what their special sauce is, but after Wednesday night, shout out Brandon Comps, Thomas Blank, and Eddie Walker. We put a hurting on some Raising Cane's sauce last Wednesday night after
The
church.
chicken, man, it's a good chicken leg.
Let me tell you-
chicken leg, chicken strip, chicken strip.
Yeah,
It's a good
chicken strip. Chicken strip. It's a beautiful thing when you pick up a chicken strip, dip it, take a bite out of it, and like oil and like juice just doesn't, or grease like
I
doesn't
wish you
like
could
fall
see
out.
Braden's face in the background. Braden's like, that's not good.
No.
Like imagine being in your car right now on the way to work and you hear that description of a chicken finger coming through on your morning. Like somebody's in their car right now just trying to get to work on time, drinking their coffee, and they're listening to you describe the oil dripping out of a chicken finger.
Somebody just spit Zaxby's out of their mouth. That's what happened. Somebody just spit Zaxby's out of their mouth.
So if you're gonna cast a vote, we got 4 people in the room. There's
Yeah,
a potential
yeah.
tie. Sam, Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's?
Raising Cane's.
Really, Raising Cane's? Wow,
Well,
okay.
we said this was going to be a debate, and we have to have some debate time.
I mean, not if it's a clear answer.
I think I'm a bit biased right now because I just moved to Summerville, right? And I've also just now had Raising Cane's for the second time.
Fair.
But
Still fresh.
Thomas Blank put me on the Raising Cane's chicken sandwich,
Okay.
which was like drenched with that Raising Cane's sauce.
There you go.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Beautiful thing. And I definitely will say that the Raising Cane's chicken sandwich that I had this last Wednesday night was better than any Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich I've ever had.
Wow.
It's a hot take, but I also think
hot take.
Popeye's chicken sandwich is better than Chick-fil-A's too, though.
No, there's no way.
Well,
No
we
way.
can talk
All
about
right,
that
Braden,
later.
Raising
Anyway.
Cane's or Chick-fil-A?
Raising Cane's food, but Chick-fil-A ice cream.
Oh, that's fair.
yeah.
I don't even think Raising Cane's has ice cream. Like they're not even competing in that category.
Oh, they don't?
should be. They should be.
Okay.
They're pretty simple. Chicken fingers, fries, coleslaw, Texas toast, the occasional sandwich.
Greaseless chicken fingers.
All right, Josh, Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A?
Mm-hmm.
Chick-fil-A. Okay, we got one for Chick-fil-A.
Look, Josh.
You were at Chick-fil-A, in Virginia, right?
Yep, 4
Awesome.
months.
4 months.
Does that count?
Is there a story there? Like, why was it only 4 months?
I just found something better. They wouldn't.
He found Raising Cane's. That's what it was. He found Raising Cane's.
Hey,
Fair enough.
we actually talked about last week, James. I think we talked about like some people that we wanted to bring on.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh and Braden are both two of those people that
Absolutely.
we look forward to having on this show, right?
I hope we can just kind of have this as a permanent little thing where they're just in the room.
I think it would be great.
I think having Josh and Braden around is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Anytime.
great people, man.
All right, so now we're at 2-1, Raising Cane's to Chick-fil-A. I'm
Yeah.
going to cast a third vote for Raising Cane's right now.
Oh, really?
I'm casting a third
They
for
took-
Raising
that
Cane's.
easily.
I
Wow.
think so. Let's move on.
Josh is fuming right now. I know
Sorry.
it.
He
He loves some
He
Chick-fil-A.
does love some. That man eats some Chick-fil-A.
That man loves him
He's
some
got his
Chick-fil-A.
cup right now. Look at it. He's got his cup.
Yeah, man.
All right.
If you want to talk about it a little bit,
We don't have time. We don't have time. Today.
big fan of Joe Burrows, what he's doing, and I was
All right, hang on. Big fan of Joe Burrows is what you said. His name's Joe Burrow. You got his name wrong. I'm a big fan of the guy. I don't know his name.
I thought his last name was plural. It's not plural.
No, it's Joe Burrow. There's no S.
Oh.
Hang on. I'm Googling it right now. I'm Googling. It's Joe Burrow.
Maybe what I
Yes.
should have said was Joe Burrow's team. I'm sorry. I like what he's doing in
I
Cincinnati.
love Joe Burrows.
Dude's got some
What's
swagger
his name
about
again?
him.
Yeah,
Joe
he
Burrow.
He does.
He does have a swagger, and
Who
he plays
was
with
it?
like
One of the guys on ESPN was saying he is the best quarterback in the NFL.
they
right now.
beat Buffalo.
They did.
and then
They did.
They're going to play
In the snow.
They're going. Yeah,
Snow.
it was a lot of
Did you ever
snow.
play football in the snow?
Outside. I mean, outside.
Not like an actual game in the snow.
No, dude.
Okay. Me either.
No,
Looked fun though.
No,
Looks
my
cool.
football days. I didn't play as much football as you did, dude.
I didn't play much either. I was on the team. That was about it. All right,
Oh,
one more
man.
question. Go for it. And
One more
then
question?
we do have something like kind of good and serious
All
to
right,
talk
all right.
about.
Here's a question. I really am curious about.
Okay.
If you could name one animal that you think resembles your personality and also your tenacity, what animal would you say you are?
All right.
Personality.
Let me make a couple of comments real fast. There's the difference between our personalities right there. I'm like, did you watch any football? And Sam's like, what animal describes you best? And then the second thing, I heard Braden in the background say a parrot.
A parrot.
And I don't know if Braden's talking about me, like Braden's describing me as a parrot,
Amen.
or if that was his answer for himself to the question. I think I would be,
Yeah.
or I would like to become an orca.
An orca.
An orca. An orca.
Is that a killer whale?
A killer whale.
I'm so glad that was right. I was so
but
worried about that.
That sounds a little aggressive when you say it like that. Like if think about an orca, they're incredible animals, right?
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
determined. They know what they're about.
Yeah.
They run in community with people that are like minded. They can take out a great white shark, not afraid of anything.
Yeah, yeah.
They know how to move forward, what they want.
They know themselves.
Yeah. And they're pretty cool animals. Like
They're pretty
if you
cool.
see one, you're like, oh, that's beautiful. That's
And you know
amazing.
what? Like,
Not that I'm beautiful or amazing, but
well,
you know.
I feel like was it Han Solo that cut open the thing in Star Wars to get inside of him and warm himself up on Hoth?
Yes.
I feel like if an orca whale came up on shore and Han Solo was like, this is the coldest beach I've ever been on. I feel like Han Solo would just cut open the inside of the core. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And just get inside of it, because when you cut open a killer whale, if you look inside James, he's really nice and cozy on the inside.
I was like, where are we going with this?
We landed.
All
We
right.
landed.
All right.
Plane
All right.
landed.
Well, last on episode 1, we started talking about some people that have been influential in our lives.
Yeah.
And said we wanted to come back to that conversation. That's an the idea of influence is an interesting conversation. When you think about when the word influence comes up in our world today, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
Influence.
Yeah.
Just to get real, we're gonna get real with it, right?
Sure.
Like this morning in Hebrews, I was reading, and I had never seen this, but I'm doing a devotional, New Morning Mercies.
Okay.
Paul David Tripp.
Paul David Tripp. Yeah.
Paul David Tripp, Ashley Moore from Upstate Church. If you are watching this or listening to this, thank you for that book. It's incredible. But the devotional pointed you to the Hebrews chapter where it talks about your eye being a lamp to your body, and it needing to be healthy so that you can let healthy light come into your body. You can look it up; it's there.
I'm
New
looking at the
Testament.
passage.
New Testament. Maybe chapter 11. Do you hear that in the background?
I do.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh at that right now.
What passage in Hebrews were you in? Because the eye is the lamp of the body. That's Matthew 6. That's Jesus.
Is it Matthew? Is it? I really thought it was
No, bro.
Hebrews, dude.
That's Jesus, Matthew 6.
Is it?
Sermon on the Mount. The eye is the lamp of the body.
No,
Your
no, no.
eyes are good. Your whole body's full of light.
Oh, that was the scripture.
Well, that's Matthew.
Then it was in Matthew. This
Still
one.
New Testament.
Hey,
New
but
Testament.
content. I got the
Yeah,
content. Humans added the verse numbers anyway to the Bible.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Humans
that's
added
the point.
that.
That's-
Thanks.
that's a
I
good
appreciate
point.
it.
They didn't name the books.
They didn't name it. They didn't. No, you're right. But when I think of influence in the world today, I think of what people use their eyes to both look at and internalize.
Sure, that's good.
And that's really how I see influence. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind for me is the idea of influencers.
Sure.
The influencer industry has gone from like non-existent a decade ago to like multi-billion-dollar industry. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's, here's content we're going to put in front of people that tells you, this is what you should be, this is what you should become, this is what you should strive for and aspire to. And there's a lot of us that are being influenced, whether we know it or not, by by social media and what we're intaking on those platforms. It's funny sometimes at our house. There's some influencers that Tara follows on social media, and sometimes she'll like bring up one of them, and she'll mention like a name, and it's like, wait a minute, are we talking about somebody that or is this somebody from social media that
first name basis kind of thing?
Basis, right?
Gotcha.
Right. It's like which one is it?
All right.
And I think that's how a lot of people are operating in that world. It's like, we're taking advice and cues on who we should be and who we should become from people that we've never even met, that we don't know, that don't know us. The opposite side of that is an opportunity I think we all have to both be influenced by and be an influence on people that are actually in our lives that we're walking with. And I was not at all a shot at the influencer industry. I think that can be a great thing. If you use your platform for what is good and what is right, man, we need more influencers in the world that are following Jesus. But Sam, who are some people in your life that are have been a great influence on you? And let's for the purpose of this conversation,
put some limits on it.
Yeah, let's exclude
Okay.
Our parents and grandparents, because we've got incredible parents and grandparents that love Jesus and follow Jesus and encouraged us to do the same. For me, I'm going to exclude Tara's parents from this conversation as well. I'm fortunate to have incredible in-laws that
I love them, dude.
Me too. That have modeled Jesus well. And
so
let's go kind of outside the family world, because our listeners have all sorts of family contexts and dynamics. And who are some people outside of the family that didn't have to be an influence on you, but chose to invest in you and help shape you into who you are today?
Yeah. I'll comment and respond real quick to what you were saying about the social media stuff too. I commend people that can have a bunch of influence on social media, also consume a bunch of social media, and like keep their mind in their healthy spot.
Because you're off social media completely now.
Yeah,
right?
For good. I'm not getting back on it. I'm off of it. And we can open that up sometime for sure. But generally speaking, the reason why I pulled off of it was because I learned how much of my mind, what we're talking about, the influence, what was influencing me for a period of time, the heaviest influences on myself, how I saw things, how I thought about things, even what I believed about not only myself, but what I believed about the world was really starting to, I would say, be tainted by the negative stuff, just the ugly stuff that media throws at us. So I had to make the personal. It's a great doorway into influences.
That's a great point too. If I can jump in just for a second there, maybe as you're navigating this question, and as we as people are examining, what really is influencing my life, there might be some things influencing us that we're like, hey, for this time, this season, like that person or that social media platform or that habit, like I can't let that influence me. And it's not a bad thing to remove some things sometimes that are negative influences so that we can lean into exactly what Jesus said, what is good and what is healthy, what is light, so that our life can be full of light. So influences on your life, go.
Yeah, man. The doorway, I'll just name a few recent ones if I can do that.
Okay.
I think this conversation could go a lot of different ways. For me, I think I have a lot of different answers based on what kind of topic we were talking about.
Okay.
I'll just go recent. Now that we were talking about social media and talking about like almost kind of a perspective, a worldview, like what influences that for me personally. I'll talk a little bit, just name a few. Throughout my life, like you, definitely had a great family, thankful for that. But outside of the family, growing up in one church was a huge blessing looking back, because people saw me from day one, and they saw me to day whatever when I graduated high school and went to North Greenville for college, and had several people, intentional or not, walk beside me my whole entire life, and kind of put their arm around my neck and say and show me the way. Brian Clevenger, and I'm going to leave out names, by the way, in this on accident. So sorry, whoever I'm leaving out. Brian Clevenger, definitely. Another Brian, but from another church, Brian Hester, has been a huge influence. He was a huge influence me through college. He's a music pastor. I gotta give a shout out to Sanchez Fair. Big influence on me. The doctor. Yeah. Sanchez, some Boy State family there. Sanchez had an impact on me from a distance, but have had several conversations over the phone with him. More recently, college, some of my biggest influences who were pretty hands-on with me. Definitely got to give a big shout out to Wes Walker from First Baptist Simpsonville, to Randy Kirby, worship pastor from First Baptist up there. Ricky Stark from Berea First Baptist, with the first youth pastor, first guy I ever worked with outside of Sakona, who trusted me enough to bring a little freshman college student into their youth ministry to serve. And more recently, a guy named Juan Rivera. Juan is a retired minister, but he's still doing a lot of like local ministry work with people. And Juan has just given me so many little nuggets of leadership, how to organize, how to think, how to plan, how to follow up with people. Another guy, Larry Rockwell, from First Baptist Simpsonville, one of the most gracious people I've ever been around. Phenomenal listener, always like texting. Man, I thought he was one of those guys at first. When I first met him, I was like, "There's no way you're this nice." And over time, he's legit. Real. And he was real, man, and has been ever since I first met him. Pretty awesome. Brian Owens from that church. I just keep naming people. Pat Gillen, huge shout out. Corey Watson, I just met him before I left, doing a lot of great stuff in the upstate. Jody Jennings, good grief, Jody Jennings taught me so much about perspective. He's a North Greenville guy.
And Jody is coming to the Mountain Experience this year. Did you know that?
No.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Are you for real right now?
He's going to be there Saturday
morning.
morning.
Man. Dude, Jody.
Burrows?
Yeah, Joey Burrows. Jody.
Sorry.
Jody, and I'll share this and then I'll stop, but so many more. I should say that there are so many more people that I did not mention just then.
Sure.
But Jody gave me one piece of advice that was, worth $1 million in one. More than I ever thought it really was worth. In the moment, it's advice. Dallas Wilson too. I'll shout out Dallas in a second and share a quote that he's always said. But Jody talks about, and kind of preached to me a little bit about this a couple different times early on in college, that learning to live a content life, one full of gratitude. And I'm kind of stretching some words into how I've applied his advice.
You stretching words? Never.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
There you go. He said, man, if you're focused, this was kind of going through some transitional periods. My first couple of years of college, very transitional, a lot of changes, a lot of moving around with where I was doing stuff and what I was doing. Jody said, man, if you are always focused on the pictures that you used to be in and the people that used to be in those pictures with you, you're going to miss out on the joy and the opportunities of the pictures you're in today.
Wow.
He said, so stop thinking about what you used to be a part of. Be thankful for that, reflect on it, learn from it, grow from it, internalize it, almost process it, right?
Yeah.
Do your work with it. Don't let it just sit on a shelf, but do your work with it. Do your homework. But then take that, apply those things that you learned through those processes, and even some of those people that you had to release and let go, right? And when you do that and you're making the perspective, the influence, when you're focused on where you are, what you're called to do there, and you're engaging with the people around you, man, he was like, your joy and your perspective is going to shift. He said your perspective has the ability to lead your emotions. And I've never forgotten that.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never forgotten that, and I won't.
That's good.
Which kind of plays into that quote I said a minute ago. I was going to talk about Dallas Wilson sharing a lot at Harrison Bridge, Upstate Church Harrison Bridge. He always shared a quote, and it's not his. I can't remember who the original quote was by, but it was, "Life is meant to be lived moving forward, but understood looking backward." Yeah. Life is meant to be lived moving forward, understood looking backward. If you know that, and then you allow your perspective to be one that's influenced by healthy things, then making a decision like what I did, shout out Ashley Moore with Ashley Moore. Ashley, another mentor of mine, he was one that helped me see how much of my mind was being crafted, molded, wired by the influences I was giving a lot of weight to.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So it's cool just looking back. I know that's a really long answer, but a lot of my influences over time, God has used them to teach me similar lessons that are complementary, that now hopefully, you know, when you ask me about my influences, I can say, hey, I learned from, you know, all of them.
Yeah.
And they were all gearing me towards making a move to Summerville or something like that,
yeah.
like that
And
willingness.
what's cool,
kind of awesome
when you think about the idea of influence. And,
Yeah.
Influence is it's small moments over time that ultimately shape a life.
Wow.
You know, and I think that's why a lot of people get frustrated in the moment, 'cause it's like we don't see a lot of change. I don't feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives. But influence often doesn't happen in one big moment. It's small investments over time. It's, you know, a conversation here, a compassionate word there, a text message here, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying. It's the small moments over time that add up to something monumental. And it's also, it's the sum of a lot of different people. None of us got where we are simply on our own.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a great thing for us to remember in today's world where everybody seems to be so entitled. You know, the spirit of the age could be entitlement. Like, you know, I deserve it. I want it. I've earned it. I need it my way. Man, none of us got where we are on our own, but we are the sum total of a lot of different people's investments and inputs into our lives. And that's a great thing to remember and to reflect on and be grateful for. And then I think our responsibility, especially as followers of Christ, is to go, okay, how do I pass on the good that people have invested in me? And I'm not going to give a massive list today.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That was cool. That was great. That was a great point that, you know, to make that hey, it wasn't one person or one moment, but it was the sum total of a lot of years of people investing in you that got you where you are today.
Yeah, yeah.
And my story is the same way. Like, I can't.
Let's hear a little bit about that. Can we? Just a few.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, in terms of Daniel Herringa and Gerald Roper and our grandfather, who was a pastor for years, and people in Summerville that have invested in me, ministers in this, retired ministers in this church that have brought me books, or you know, just invested in my life beyond what I probably deserved in the moment. I'm just so grateful for that. One person comes to mind in particular, Oliver Neely, who was the music pastor at the church that I grew up in. And
Big O.
Big O was on staff with me when I came on staff as youth pastor in Pickens. And, you know, he'd been there, I don't know how many years, a couple decades.
I mean, he won a state championship in 1952 as a part of the Pickens Blue Flame football team.
Right,
Whoa.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only state championship football team.
Yeah.
In Pickens Blue Flame history, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But anyway, you know, Big O would come into the office in the morning. He'd go back and, you know, do his stuff, and then on his way out every single day, he'd stop by in my office and just sit down and talk.
Yeah.
And like, you know, in those moments, I didn't always, you know, think a whole lot about it, but he was simply investing in my life and checking in on me. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? How's youth ministry going? Big O's the guy that gave our little youth worship team the chance to open the services on Sunday mornings, the call to worship a couple times a month, you know. And I know Big O. Big O did not like modern praise and worship music. Yet he gave us the chance to do it.
How much humility do you think he? I didn't know that. I didn't know that he didn't like it.
I mean, he liked it because it was you and Sarah and some other people that he knew and loved, and but like in terms of like style preference, like Big O was like, you know, hymnals only. You know, let's sing the old stuff, and Big O's the man. But I've never told this story publicly, I don't think, but shortly before Big O retired, he called to our secretary in the office and said, "Hey, can you get James to come down to my office?" And his office was back in the choir suite, you remember?
Yeah.
So I walked back there, and he's kind of packing up, cleaning up his office a little bit, and he had a wooden clock made, like literally cut out of a tree trunk, and there was like somebody had made it for him, put some the hands on it, put a little battery pack in the back. Clock didn't work, and what he told me that day was he didn't think the clock had ever actually worked, but he said, "I'm going to give you this as a reminder that one day you'll be where I'm at, and your time in ministry will be coming to an end. This clock is a reminder that you got to use the time you got to make a difference in people's lives and make a difference for what matters." And so now in Summerville, if you walk in my office and when you sit down at my desk, one of the things that you can see clearly from my desk is that clock. And so when I walk out of my office, I see that clock above my door, and it's a reminder that time is short, and the way that we extend our time on this earth is by influencing people, and it's small moment after small moment after small moment that in the long run add up to the big stuff. So
I want to call attention to one thing that you said at the very end of that. Two things. Incredible story. I didn't know that about that clock. I was just trying not to react to that, how my emotions were wanting me to react just then. That's special, dude. And that's pretty awesome that he gave that to you.
Doesn't work.
I didn't know that.
Put batteries in it, still doesn't work. But.
Really? That's cool though.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
The second, I wanted to press into a little bit about what you were getting into at the end of that, talking about extending your time. Because I know what you're talking about. I'm relating it to a guy named John Mark McMillan, artist, wrote How He Loves. You know that?
He wrote the Sloppy Wet version.
Yeah, Sloppy Wet Kiss. Yeah.
Which David Crowder then cleaned up for churches to sing.
He did. David also removed a verse from it. He also removed a verse from it. That John wrote.
That's funny.
But I'm gonna give an illustration, and then you take it and run with it.
Okay.
Do it quickly.
Okay.
John talked about how his family in a song why he wrote a song was this. His family loves redwood trees.
Okay.
Which are like massive.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
300 plus feet. And they grow like a foot a year. So a 300-foot tree took how long to grow?
A little math there.
It's a long time, like 3 centuries, I think. Am I right? Essentially?
Yep.
His family loves them. And John wanted to gift his kids with redwood trees. In the process of doing so, it hit him that his kids aren't going to be able to benefit from John Mark planting those redwood trees, seeds. But the people that would benefit from that would be the grandchildren of his kids' grandchildren. Generations down the road would be able to benefit from the full fruition of the seeds that John Mark and his kids planted, which I think is kind of what you're getting at, right? With extending your life, extending your influence beyond your time here on earth.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's
you know what I'm saying?
That's the picture from Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah 17, where Jeremiah talks about being the tree planted by water that provides the shade, and I think that's deep down for all of us. I think that our one of our deepest desires has to be to make an impact and to leave a legacy, to live a life that matters. I don't know of anybody who would say at the end of it all, I don't want to leave anything behind. I don't want to make a difference. I don't want to, make an impression on people's lives.
Yeah.
We all want to make an impact. We all want to make a difference. And the reality is that we all have different ideas and views on how to go about making that difference, but we all want to make a difference. And so the question then that I think we have to ask is, well, what are the things that I can leave behind that last? Is it a large sum of money? Is it a business? Well, those things can ebb and flow. That can fluctuate. But there are some eternal things, that we can live for now that Scripture says will not fade away. And ultimately that's the love that we invest in the people around us. It's the way that we serve and model. It's the way that we become more like Christ as we grow and set that example for our kids and their kids. And it's to me it's the idea. And I think Judah Smith was the first person I heard use this phrase of being better at 70. As you age, being better as you get older, and becoming more like Christ is, I guess, the spiritual way to say that. But just being the kind of person that other people look at and want to become like. And I think that's as you grow, that to me is what influence looks like. It's not about power or authority. It's about a life that people want to follow.
I love that, dude. I'm thinking of some stuff that Tony Evans has said before that kind of sums up the influences that we're talking about, who have had the biggest influence on us, and even the type of influence that, like, one day we want to be able to look back at our lives and hopefully I don't really care about seeing the number of people who are like, Sam's that kind of leader for me.
Sure.
But like, we want to be those kind of leaders, right? We want to impact people that way.
To be able to say, like Paul, follow me as I follow Christ.
Yeah.
And, if Paul were sitting here today, his thing, it wouldn't be, oh, yeah, follow me.
No,
it would be, I'm going after Christ, and he's the goal, he's the prize, he's the treasure. Let's go in that direction. Let's go that way together.
I love it.
I think we should probably stop talking because we've been talking for like 50 minutes, and this was supposed to be like a 25-minute podcast. So hopefully you hung in there with us. We're glad you listened. Episode 3 will be coming your way soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Lawson Brothers podcast, where the only thing we know is that we don't know anything. And hopefully iron sharpened a little bit of iron today.
Hopefully so.
Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you soon.
Have a great Blue Flame Day.
Have a great Blue Flame Day. That's the way we're going to.
That's the way we're ending it.
Say it again.
Have a great Blue Flame Day. Let's just recap that real quick. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all you do is the Blue Flame way. We want people to have what, James?
A great Blue Flame Day.
Amen to that, baby.